Hey, what's going on, everybody? Alright, so my buddy Edward Birkin, he sent me a knife to try out. As what he has sent me is the GSO 4.1. Now, I've seen a lot of videos and heard a lot of good things on these knives, so I'm actually pretty excited to test this thing out and see what it can do. A little nervous testing out somebody else's knife, but you know, he wants me to do it, so I'm going to do it. First impressions of this knife. I'm not going to get into specs and all that good stuff. There's plenty of that crap on the web, so I'm just going to get into actually using this thing. But my first thoughts of this: the Kydex sheath, it's pretty nice. I'm not a real big fan of Kydex unless it's you know, a long-term situation or something along them lines. The first thing that I did is I changed the belt strap to carry it scout style, because I hate a knife that sits real high up on my waist. If you put a backpack on or anything like that, it's just very uncomfortable, and Kydex is uncomfortable anyway, so I definitely put that on the side for a scout carry or a cross draw. So looking at the knife, you know, it seems like a very well built knife. One of the things that I noticed right away, though, was the fact that they put this divot in there for a friction fire bow drill. They had to make the scales. Well, hi, baby. Come on, you can come in here. But anyway, they had to make these scales where you could take the scales on and off. So they've put these screws in there, and the first thing that I noticed, and I'm kind of disappointed in, is the screws don't actually go all the way flush with the posts. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I was actually very disappointed in that.
Mom, what's my doing? My dog? She's just smelling stuff.
She's just, you know, doing the things that dogs do. Weirdo. But, you know, a good American-made product, I would have really liked for them to bring those screws out all the way for strength, but it is what it is. So the knife edge itself is actually pretty sharp, so we'll see what we can do. Originally I was going to take this out to the burn pile, but as always, this godforsaken state is always windy, so I had to come up here as a wind block just so you guys can actually hear me and see what it is that I'm going to do. So as what I'm going to do is I've also promised another friend, Donnie Bassett, that I was going to make him a bow drill kit. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I cut down a nice piece of cottonwood, and we're going to process this thing up with the GSO, and we'll see exactly how it does. And before I go any further, I always look to see what kind of wedge it's creating. And it looks like it's creating a pretty good wedge. Now, carving wise, this knife is not biting very deep. Baton's real nice, but it is not biting deep at all. Knife definitely makes you work when you're carving. That's all there is to it. I've definitely found that it does not seem like it's a very good carver. The knife definitely batons well, but I'm telling you, it just does not carve at all. Not liking the bevel on it. Now this is actually an area that it's doing very well in here. Okay, I am not going to do much past just burning this thing in, because I'm going to send this set off to Donnie, and plus I don't necessarily want to burn out that micarta a whole lot. But this is going to be interesting to see how this thing does in fact work. I've never tried a handle on a knife with one of those divots in it, so let's just give it a shot and see what we do. It actually is quite smooth. Not a whole lot of friction to it at all. Starting to roll smoke out of there real easy, which is plus. And I'm not breathing hard, so. Alright, so looking at the divot, it did not burn it up or anything else, so it held up really well. Kind of impressive. Okay, the one thing I can tell already is this knife will absolutely take a baton to knock this notch out, because I like to be able to just press in and that knife really dig in, but it will not bite into this wood. I mean, I'm pressing with all my might right there, and it goes in maybe 1/1000th of an inch. I mean, it is just very, it doesn't bite. That's all there is to it. This knife does not bite wood very deep at all. Maya, what in the hell do you have? A snorting pig. I gotta tell you, I feel like I'm working entirely too hard for this. Alright, so I had to work quite a bit harder than what I would have liked, but we ultimately got the job done. Alright, so we have made our primitive set. So I tell you what, my ultimate thoughts. To be honest with you, I really wasn't that impressed with it. Splits well, but I tell you what, as far as carving wise, it just does not carve very good at all. I've never had a problem carving on cottonwood. I use it all the time, so it's not, I know it's not the wood. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not, used to this particular knife yet. I just thought that it would have actually done just a little bit better than it had. Another thing that I don't particularly like about it is the spine. It's fairly rounded, so throwing sparks, it's just not going to happen. I expected more out of this knife, I really did. Feels good in the hand, but that's about it. The divot's really cool. I really wish they would have followed through with longer screws there. Retained its edge really well. I mean, it's still very sharp, but I don't know. You guys saw how it did, and I'm probably going to get blasted with a lot of hate mail on this one. And there's a lot of people out there that love GSO. Quite frankly, I just think that there's better knives out there. So, Edward, I do appreciate you sending me this knife. I know that this probably was not at all what you expected. Hope there's no hard feelings or anything, man. I'm just gonna call it like I see it, and this is one of those times where I just didn't think that it was the knife that I thought it could be. So, as always, guys, have a good one.